everybody. Again,
Hello. Hi.
let's start it again, right? And
morning,
my name's Tony Neal, your host, and I'm from Wellbeing Health Retreats. And my business is Wellbeing for individuals and also for businesses. So I'd like to introduce you to Simon. Simon, please introduce yourself.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, my name is Simon Bowden, and I am a business marketing coach, actually. So Tony and I have got together, and we're producing our Let's Chat, and it's two coaches and plenty of questions. So over to you, Tony. We can introduce our guest this morning.
We've got our special guest today. Her name's Sharada Rumi, my lovely wife, and her expertise is well-being. So yeah. I'll hand it over to you, Sharada. Can you just introduce yourself and tell us what you do, and over to you.
Hi. Well, I'm Sharda, and I have been studying many different modalities over the years because I'm interested in well-being from all aspects, not just mental well-being or emotional well-being. And so what I have come to a space now is to put together all those years of learnings that I have done and cherry-picked the best that everyone can do in order to rebalance yourself when you are in a space of frustration or confusion. And so it's a very simple technique. And the one that I'd like to share today, it's called the heart focus breathing from the HeartMath Institute in California. They have done a lot of research, and what they found is this: is that our heart is the most powerful organ in the whole body. Surprise, surprise. And it actually emits up to 10 foot on normal days the electromagnetic field. And so that allows the heart to actually pick up signals from the environment long before our mind actually kicks in. And then the interesting part to it as well is this, is that when we're stressed out, the heart picks up the signals and wants to send the messages to the brain. And then the stress actually comes in and blocks the pathway off. So then your mind doesn't get messages and it gets all confused and it can't think straight because it's not getting the right messages. So today I'm going to help you to actually be coherent, that your mind and your heart is working. It's like the telephone wire is in full swing and not blocked anywhere. So that's what I'd like to share with you today.
Thank you, Sharada. That was wonderful. And what our topic today is all about resilience. So, Simon, would you like to tell the audience about how resilience affects your business?
Well, hang on. Let's start. Let's start by perhaps I might bounce it back to you, Tony, and let's work out exactly what resilience actually means.
Okay. I'm glad you asked that question because I've got a slide for everyone. So I'm just going to pop this up on the screen.
Yep.
So this slide here is about resilience. So I just want to read out the resilience card for us, and just bear with me for a second. I need to put my goggles on. So resilience is about, if I just do the practice of resilience, when troubles come, I stay strong. I have the flexibility to bounce back. I have the faith to overcome.
Yeah.
I find comfort in community. I trust hardship to cultivate my character. I fully engage in living. I'm thankful for the gift of resilience. It keeps me growing. So isn't that something that businesses and individuals need to have? So what do you think about that, Simon?
Yeah, look, with my coaching, I find that a lot of people tend to put their head in the sand, and they think that things are going tough, or that things might be tough for them, and they sometimes don't look at ways of trying to bounce back. And I suppose, as you said, the resilience is the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties, and so therefore, I find often that business owners tend to put their head in the sand, and they think that things are just automatically going to go away. And we know through history that that's not the case.
Mm.
You need to be able to address your issues, and the more quickly that you can address your issues and find a solution for those, the quicker that you can move on. And you know, by putting your head in the sand, I find that that people tend to suffer from anxiety, and then that's where the depression comes in, and that's where things become, let's say, more or tougher for people to be able to deal with, rather than just deal with it, head on straight away. So, if I could say anything in regard to that through my coaching experience, is the ability to be able to address it quickly is the key for me. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. So in my experience, what the things that I've found through my coaching is, in terms of culture of the business, we need to sort of develop that resilience culture. And that sort of goes to the actual business owner. So the business owner is the person who actually sets the culture. So if the business owner himself knows what resilience is and acts and be resilient, then that culture will go all the way through. So that's what I found, is to build that. And so
in the top.
That's it.
As you say, it filters down through the staff, it filters down through the mindsets, and you've got strong leadership in a business, then you will find that the staff will become strong as well. Following that culture.
That's right. And over to you, Sharada. I'm going to ask you a question. What is one of the resilient tools that the emergency services like ambulances, fire brigade and police and military use? So would you like to tell the audience about that?
Okay, so let me simplify, because you wonderful coaches are kind of like putting across what resilience is from your perspective. I'm going to put it very simply. Resilience means our capacity to prepare for. Okay, so that means having that awareness that, at any moment of time, anything could happen in our lives. So we need to be prepared. And then once we are, we are exposed to whatever happens in our lives, that we are prepared and we bounce back.
Yes.
And then that capacity after bouncing back is that we then have the capacity to adapt to the new changes that's happened to us. So this basically, it's like you have to be prepared, you got to bounce back, and you've got to adapt. So that's what, to me, the simplest version of resilience. And so what we found, what they found is like in America, where they've done a lot of the research on, resilience and techniques to help the all the different emergency population manage their stress, is what they found is that when we are stressed, it stops our capacity to think clearly. And so when let's say when an ambulance officer goes to a scene that's traumatic, the immediate reaction, they react to it with stress. And so if they don't have any techniques to help them to rebalance quickly, what they found is that this stress affects the body for many hours after the trauma. And so with this technique that I'm going to share today, they have found that this technique is called the heart focused breathing technique. It actually helps people to rebalance themselves. Instead of taking 6 hours for the body to go back to being balanced, this technique could take only about 90 seconds.
Wow.
And it restores this space of being coherent. So it's very simple and it's very, very fast.
Wow, isn't that wonderful information?
I want to know more. What can you give us a demo?
Oh, yes, of course. So let me just explain a little bit, right? So with the heart-focused breathing, we all know that the breath, it's like the pacer. So if you're feeling frustrated or angry, we find that the normal reaction in the body is the breath is faster and the heartbeat is faster. And so when the heart and the breath is fast, then of course that, puts tension in the stomach and our, muscular muscles, becomes tense and all those sort of things. And then what that happens is then the message that goes up, it triggers the amygdala, which is the kind of like the guard, in front of the gateway to the thinking brain. And so all these things kind of go up, the stress chemicals, and the amygdala says, oh, stress. Well, I better put out my fight and flight, which is then becomes even more tense, even more vigilant, because we're in this state. And then, of course, the poor mind, because the amygdala stepped in and shut the door on the mind, we can't think. And so when we do the heart focused breathing, we are consciously pacing the breath, connecting to the heart, which is the most powerful organ in the body. And then between the breath and the heart, it will automatically help that pathway to the brain to open up, and it calms the amygdala down. And then the brain can now kick in and then give its input clearly.
Sharada, is this an easy tool to teach?
Oh yes, very simple. Let's have a minute of practice.
Okay, if it's only a minute, just imagine what we can do in the businesses. If it's just 1 minute to teach it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
1 minute to rebel it. Okay.
All right.
So the important thing is to be conscious that when we're starting to notice we're stressed, is to do it immediately, not to wait 5 hours later when we're kind of like dropping down on the table without knocking our head. So it's to do it as soon as we are aware that we are getting stressed. It's the preparing part of this thing. Okay. So just sit comfortably, just close your eyes, and then focus your attention on the area of your heart. And then just imagine your breath just flowing in, and out of your heart center. Breathing deeper and slower than usual. Breathing in to the count of 5 and breathing out to the count of 5. So breathing in and breathing out. And by doing this, we are rebalancing. Instead of having the influx of stress chemicals creating havoc on the body, we are bringing about what I call the peace chemical, the quiet chemical, the calm chemical, and allowing that to just flow in our whole body, just using the breath and the heart. And in doing this, we are going to be opening up what we call the vagus nerve, which is the telephone wire between the heart and the brain. So as we continue to breathe slower and deeper, the pathway is becoming clear of the stress chemicals, and then the door is open, and the brain and the frontal lobe is now able to communicate clearly with the heart. And then when you open your eyes, you're actually in a better space to make better decisions with clarity and with calm. And so that's why it's important to maintain this, to practice this little technique. The more you do it, the more resilient you become, because you are preparing yourself to have a clarity of mind that responds to events instead of reacting from stress and confusion.
Wow, isn't that magnificent? Simon, what do you think that business owners and businesses would have just using this simple technique?
Well, it's calming, isn't it?
Yes. And just imagine, how they'd be able to, once they get calm, how they can sort of look at a problem and break it down easy and resolve easy.
it's always been one of those issues that, for me, is business owners tend to make decisions based on the fact that they're stressed. When in actual fact, it shouldn't be that way. It should be when they should be making decisions based on when they're calm.
Yes, absolutely.
Exactly. That's right. That's right. Because
So how do you find using that technique, Sharada, in with business owners and staff when you do these wellbeing seminars? What sort of results do you get?
it's just amazing because people recognize that when they are calm and they can think clearly, that they have more resources that they can find around them, rather than being in a panic state where they can't see anything. So I'll just give an example. Like, I was at a conference in Thailand, and one of the sharers she was the head of the psychology department, and she's also in charge of the well-being of the hospital. It's a big hospital in Thailand, and she decided to test out this little technique. So every hour they have this sweet, gentle chime that goes on the PA system of the whole hospital. When she first started this, everybody was making fun of her, said, "Oh, what nonsense is this? What difference is it going to make to us?" But after a while, like after a few days, when people know that when that chime is on, it is breathing time. It is pause, stop what you're doing, and breathe just for a couple of seconds, deep breathing, and gather yourself. And then, whenever the PA system is out of whack and the chime didn't come on, they say, "Oh, where is our reminder? We're supposed to be relaxed. We're supposed to be at peace at this time." And so everybody found the advantages of actually doing the hourly deep breathing and rebalancing yourself. So if you look at it in a business, a lot of businesses, especially businesses, they are all busy. They're busy. They're constantly being distracted all the time. So if they can put something into place where every hour all of the staff can just take these few seconds of gathering themselves, bringing themselves into the space of being coherent, can you imagine how much more productive the staff is going to be, and how much more energized they're going to be, instead of being tired, stressed, and fatigued all the time?
Well, I could see that they'd be a lot happier too.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So with business owners, let's bring it back to Australian business owners. We're all running around. We're all stressed. We're all really busy. We've all got three hats on at the moment, and trying to do everybody's job. So, what's a good reminder that the business owners here in Australia could be doing to take those few minutes every hour or every couple of hours to breathe?
It's, the amazing thing is this: the more we are conscious, the more we are present, the more we are able to think clearly. So if you can just imagine, like, if you had a bucket of dirty water, and you're carrying it with you, I mean, it becomes heavier if you don't deal with it. But to me, it is as if we can take this 30 seconds, let's say, every hour, to breathe and to rebalance ourselves. It's like tipping the stress dirt out of our consciousness, tip that stress bucket out and start again with an empty bucket. So, so then the bucket doesn't become heavier and heavier and heavier as the day goes on. So you can imagine, for a business owner that works 16 hours a day, some of them right now, doing so many different things, if they can give themselves permission to just unload the stress instead of allowing to build up and build up and build up, and then it keeps going on and on and on. Can you imagine how much better they're going to feel in terms of having to do all these hours of hard work?
Well, I'm going to try that today. I'm going, for the rest of the day, I'm fairly busy. I've got quite a bit on, and I've got some coaching to do a little bit later on this afternoon. So I'm going to try that little technique of yours, Sharada, and I'm going to put it to the test.
Wonderful.
and see what it actually brings me.
Yeah, one of the things that you can measure, Simon, is your level of fatigue.
Yes.
One of the things that stress does, it just drains you. And
Yes.
so by doing this, which is resilience, building your resilience, which is recharging your body because you're putting the positive things into your body, I'd love you to sort of come back to us and just tell us how much fatigue that you've been relieved, how much energy that you've got left to resolve issues.
I'll tell you how many buckets of dirty water I tip out.
That's right. Now let me just interrupt and let me just give another little tip, which is very helpful. This is called being focused and recharging. So the aim of this exercise is to consciously recharge the mitochondria in our cells.
Yes.
So what I do is this: when I do the heart focused breathing, which is connecting and being coherent and being clear in our thinking, what I also have is this: if I have like at least 3 events in my life that I put in my toolbox. One event is something that helps me to feel enthusiastic about life. So, for example, it's like the first time that I got the message that, wow, I have been accepted to come to Australia. And I felt so enthusiastic about that. And so that's a big event. Okay. So if you remember that event and you put it in your pocket, and then another event is, let's say, you are, you're feeling a little bit depressed and you're feeling a little bit anxious about things. Just find an event in your life that brought you so much joy. Okay.
Yes.
And like for me, let's say when we went to the movies when I was little, the first movie theater I went to with my brother. And on top of that, he bought me an ice cream. And like ice cream in Malaysia in the 1960s, it's like gold, you don't get to eat ice cream. And he bought an ice cream and a movie at the same time. So, so that for me is such a joyous event. So I have that in my back pocket. And then if I feel like I'm a little bit if I'm a little bit at unease and I feel like I need a little bit of peace, then I remember my favorite beach, my favorite palm tree that I used to sit on under and watch the waves coming. So I have those 3 things in my back pocket. Depending on what mood I'm in, any situation, I pick one of those 3 events.
Yes.
I bring up in my mind's eye, and then I close my eyes and I allow my heart to bring that emotion up, whether it be joy, whether it be peace, whether it be enthusiasm. And in doing that, those chemicals of enthusiasm or joy or peace will actually, recharge the energy in the cells, because those emotions have the capacity to recharge, just as stress, frustration, anger, depression, they deplete our energy. Those opposite emotions will rejuvenate and will recharge us. So it's so simple. It's so simple. But to remember to have 3 different events in your back pocket, because you can imagine when you're feeling stressed and depressed, your mind hasn't got that capacity to start looking for things to help you out in that moment. Okay, so this is where being resilient means you got to prepare. You must have the preparation, which is the 3 events in your back pocket.
Yes.
The continuous heart focused breathing, so that it becomes normal rather than something. It's like, the old expression is, for a lot of people, when they're in trouble, they look for God and then they can't find him because they've never seen him before. It's the same thing. So we want to prepare ourselves. And then when we are prepared, of course, as you know, it's so much easier to bounce back because we are prepared. And then because we are prepared and we bounce back quickly, then we're able to adapt.
Yes.
So all those things can easily be maintained as a business owners now, especially that there's so much chaos, so much stress happening, that we need to look after ourselves.
Absolutely.
So that we can be the best and we can be relaxed. We can deal with whatever comes in front of us. And like you said, Simon, a lot of people find it easier to hide under the sand, and
Yeah,
just pretend everything is okay. Because then, but the problem with that is the worrying doesn't stop, the anxiety doesn't stop, the frustration doesn't stop. So all that is accumulating. So
absolutely.
the techniques I've shown you today gives you the opportunity to prepare yourselves in a better way.
Well, that's great, Sharada. I'm just mindful that we're getting close to the top of the hour, so I just want to get a bit of a summary. Perhaps I'll start with you, Simon. What do you think were the key points out of today's talk that you'd like to tell the audience?
Oh, look, I think just those techniques, I think that Sharada's been able to share with us, I think they're fantastic. And if you're mindful of those, as she said, I think is a real key moving forward, just to take those deep breaths and put you and make you think differently.
Yeah.
I'm, like I said, I'm really keen to have a bit of a practice of that this afternoon.
Beautiful.
And by all means, we'll report back. And
also, Simon, can you just put that in our Facebook? What your experience was, because I'm sure the audience would love to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Sharada,
it's good. Yeah, no, thank you, Sharada. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
And
Sharada,
as we all know this. The more we practice, the more it becomes automatic.
Yes.
And Sharada, in say 2 or 3 key points, what would you like everyone the take home points for the audience would be?
Be prepared, breathe, have things that will keep you happy, keep you being at peace, keep you enthusiastic about life. That's preparation. And then with that, when you're peaceful, when you're clear in your thinking, when you're resilient, then you're going to be able to bounce back quickly.
Yeah.
And by being resilient, you can adapt more easily as well.
Yeah.
What about
my key point that I took out of that was that resilience is so important to an organisation. The ability to bounce back. And to bounce back, you've got to notice that there's an issue. And then you can plan and do something about it. And those tips that Sharada's given us, they are gold nuggets. So everyone take heed of what those nuggets are. So I'd just like, in closing, I'd like Simon to sort of help close us off, and perhaps you want to tell us about the next exciting episode that we got in store for you.
Yeah, no, thanks, Tony. Yes, well, for those that want to know a little bit more about the importance of branding, our next webinar will feature a guest as well. So we're going to invite Naomi Jaramjuk, who is the brand advisor of the Brand Advisory, and she's somebody that has 24 years experience in graphic design and branding. And we're going to head that webinar up, calling it Branding Reloaded. So really good, yeah. So I'm absolutely looking forward to that. So if we're going through obviously this pandemic at the moment, and there is a lot of people out there. I'm finding it myself. I get asked, multiple questions on a daily basis. What should I be doing? How should I be advertising? How should I be rebranding my business to, or even change direction in my business to capitalize or change, obviously through this pandemic. So we're inviting Naomi along because we feel that it's good to help people out there at this time. And she'll certainly be able to throw some insight into what we should be doing, even though we might be locked in, or locked together in the house together, if you're in Melbourne, of course. But there's things that we can be doing with our businesses rather than just sitting on our bums doing nothing, and that's really, really important moving forward. So Naomi will be able to shed some light on what we can be doing, what we should be doing, and perhaps some of the things that we should be avoiding. So we really look forward to that. So she'll be on our next webinar in a fortnight's time.
Yeah. Thank you, Simon. And also, just finishing off, I'd like to acknowledge Sharada for her magnificent talk, and she's given us some wonderful tips. The liquid gold, one of the things that we'll do, we'll put, just to make it easy for everyone, if you've forgotten what she said, we'll actually put that heart coherence little quote down for you, so you know how to do it yourself. Also, we'll supply you with that resilience card that we've sent up for it. And I think that's really important that you sort of have a look at those tools that we give you. And if you've got any comments, please just tell us on our post with Facebook. We love you, and we want to hear more from you. If you've got some special topics that you want to talk to us about, or you want us to talk about, we love talking, don't we, Simon? We love it. We'll chat for hours, right?
You love chat.
So
the other thing is, we need to put a message out. If you would like to become a guest on one of our Let's Chat episodes, by all means, let us know, and we can book you in as well. So, which is fantastic.
Okay,
thanks,
everybody. Thank you very much for attending, and we love you. Take care, right?
All the best. See you in a fortnight. Bye for now.